Good evening, whiskey drinkers. Tonight I have something very interesting to share with you. It is a beautifully presented and wonderfully crafted whiskey from Glenrothes. Have a look at this baby. I just love this bottle. It's so heavy and solid and it feels so good in your hands. It's just a very beautiful thing. This is the Glenrothes Manse Reserve. I presume that I'm correctly pronouncing that. I understand that the manse is the house in which the top church official in a parish lives, and this being the Manse Reserve was obviously the whiskey that supposedly the priest who runs the local parish would have as his own special stash of whiskey for him and his very prominent friends in the local community. So this is the boss's whiskey, as it were. And it really is the business. It's something quite special. This particular bottle I picked up in an airport, I think it was Birmingham Airport, and I understand that this particular bottling was specifically blended and designed for the travel retail market. And while you can pick it up in shops, most of the time you won't find it. You need to go to an airport, fly somewhere nice and buy some of this for your journey. However, I think you can get it on Amazon now. It's not a cheap whiskey. It's around £55 for the 700 milliliter bottle that this is. And £55 will get you 2 bottles of cheap whiskey. So you can get 2 bottles of a cheap blend or a Jack Daniels, something along those lines, for the price of one of these. So it's not a cheap whiskey, but it's really special and it's definitely good value for money. This is my favorite thing about this whiskey though. It's got such a good sound, it's such a positive... Oh, it didn't work as well. The cork is really thick. It's you know, as thick as my thumb. It's a very sturdy cork, and it really just makes such a very positive, satisfying movement when you extract it from the bottle. So let's pour ourselves a little dram of this beautiful whiskey. I really like this whiskey. As you can see, I've already had a significant amount. And it's one that I really enjoy. It's got the most wonderful nose. Some of you may have seen my Dalwhinnie review, and I feel that this whiskey and Dalwhinnie have a lot in common. They're quite similar whiskies. They're both Speyside whiskies, and they're both sweet and fruity on the nose. This one, however, has been finished in sherry casks, and the Dalwhinnie is not. That's finished in ex-bourbon barrels. So I think you see a little bit of that sherry cask in the slightly richer, deeper gold color. Hey, maybe they added some caramel coloring to this, I don't know, but you can see it's a deeper gold. And the nose is spectacular. It's got hints of some milk chocolate, vanilla, pears. It's beautiful. A little bit of sea spray, actually without smoke or sulfur. And there's the vanilla-y, chocolatey notes are beautiful. There's some fresh green fruit. Really beautiful nose on this. It's one of the most satisfying whiskies to smell this. It's really just... It's beautiful. It's so soft and smooth and gentle. You've probably picked up by now that this is the kind of whiskey that I enjoy the most. sweet but not overpowering, soft, smooth, really nicely crafted, well-balanced whiskies. That's my wheelhouse. That's the area in which I'm most comfortable and where I get my peak enjoyment from. It doesn't mean I don't like other kinds of whiskey. I really enjoy strong peaty whiskies too, but this is just what I like the most. Oh, that's spectacular. It's got a fair amount of fire. It is bottled at 43%, and it's possible that the alcohol does slightly somewhat dampen the taste buds. The mouthfeel is so rich and creamy as well. It's got a lot of oils in it. But it is one of those whiskies that, while it's very pleasant straight, it does have a slight analgesic effect on your mouth because of the strong alcohol and the oils. And this is one of the few Scotch whiskies that I do prefer with water. Just a couple of drops of water really brings out the flavors, and it's also really benefits the nose. So the flavors that I got there was I got a fair amount of apples, some vanilla, but my tongue is a bit numb now, so I'm going to have a little bit of water. And now I'm going to pipette only the smallest amount of water into this. So I've dropped just a few small drops of North Warwickshire's finest tap water into this beautiful whiskey. It just comes alive in the glass. It's happy and it's dancing now. It's all of the same things, but there's just so much more of it. I understand that your more oily, high alcohol whiskies, they tend to dissolve and hold a lot of the flavor in as well. So it's not just what your tongue can perceive, but also a lot of the flavonoids, or what I think they're called, are kind of held in suspension in the alcohol, and by diluting it, you do actually free some of those particles up. It's a lot more chocolatey actually with the water, and that's something quite special. I want to have another taste. The flavors opened up a lot now as well. My tongue didn't get numb there again. There was a lot of toffee in there, vanilla, almost no bitterness, but a very rich, thick mouthfeel that's wonderful. I recently reviewed a Japanese Hakushu whiskey, a single malt, that has a lot of the same flavor components, but that one was so light and airy and fluffy. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but completely different contrast. So while I might say that this has a lot of those toffees and vanillas in it that the Dalwhinnie has, or some of the green fruits that the Hakushu has, it doesn't actually taste like them, although it is somewhat towards a Dalwhinnie 15-year-old. It's got a uniqueness of itself that's really in the syrupy, thick, creamy mouthfeel, the green fruits on the back of your tongue, and the chocolatey vanilla-ness on the front of your tongue. That's lovely. There's also a hint of some spiciness there, maybe a nutmeg or cinnamon, something like that. Can't quite articulate what that is, but there is some spiciness, and there's a nice warmth in your chest as well. It just sits right there. If I was to say anything bad about this whiskey, it would be that it doesn't stick around long in your mouth. It makes it kind of forgettable, because you have it and you enjoy it, but it doesn't really call you to have another gulp, another sip. But it's really beautiful. So yeah, and some of the other reviews that I've read about this whiskey, people do say that it's nice, but a little bit boring. I disagree that it's boring. I think it's definitely easy drinking. It's not going to challenge anybody, and because of its thickness, it's got a nice dessert kind of application, and that you could have it after a good meal. It'll be a good good digestive. It's almost a liqueur-like sweetness and thickness to it, and that all makes for a really staggeringly good drink. Is it the best whiskey to buy for that price? £55, $60-ish? There's a lot of good whiskey at that price range, and this wouldn't be my number one choice at that kind of money. Yeah, I would probably spend £10 less on a Dalwhinnie 15-year-old. But I already had one of those, so I bought this. I'm not sad about it. It's really good. It's beautiful. And this bottle, it feels so good. When I finish this, I'm going to feel a lot of remorse when I throw the bottle away. I don't keep all my bottles anymore. It became a problem. So this is one for water for sure. Just a few drops. Don't water it down too much. Do not spoil it with ice. Don't mix it with anything. But absolutely have a few drops of water in it and drink it from a snifter like this to get the most of that chocolatey vanilla-ness. That's just beautiful. Getting some sultana raisins. It's got so much going on. I could sniff this thing all night. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. I would love to hear more from you. I've had a few comments already on my videos, and really keen to get your feedback and find out if you've tried these whiskies and see if you felt the same way about them that I do. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching. Good night.